Let's start with Eddie Turk. What do you think he adds to Illinois, whether it's offensive line or defensive line?
Well, big shocker that Brett Bielema would prioritize a lineman. I think what he brings to the program is that versatility. I really like his tape as an offensive lineman. I think Bart Miller would love to get him as an offensive lineman. But I'm sure Terrence Jameson will be in there pitching his case too for having as a defensive lineman, and it may just depend on what sort of personnel they end up getting with the rest of the class. He's a pretty good gap shooting guy. He's maybe not necessarily like a total run stuffer as a defensive tackle, but he's just so strong and powerful, and he gets so low on the defensive side of the ball that he's tough to stop. But I think what makes him good on defense is a lot of the same things that makes him really good on offense. And, he'll stone pass rushers, he'll stone defenders. He's got great leverage. He gets up underneath and gets his hands up and kind of, really dislodges defenders, takes them out of the rush. Really good pass protector. He runs superbly in space. Super athletic guy for his size. And so, I think he's got that versatility. The comparison I made when I looked at his film was Kendrick Green, and I see so many similarities. He was a guy that was originally listed as a center coming out of high school, and then Kendrick went and played defensive tackle for a hot second, and then he came back and he played left guard at Illinois and just absolutely tore it up. Was an all-conference player. And I see some of the similarities in a guy like Eddie Turk, just in that he's got experience on both sides of the ball, but I think where he really excels could potentially be at like a left guard spot, just like Kendrick Green. I say, if the script's written, follow it. I mean, yeah. I like it, but they may need to put him somewhere else just out of need.
I think he could play 3 technique on defense too. People want to ask me my opinion on this. Like I think he could play both. I think he could play either. He's not going to play both at the same time, but I just think he's got the skill set. He's athletic. He's quick off the ball. He's smart. He's got great technique. Joey, I think whether it's Terrence Jameson, who is having a nice recruiting class so far, I think this is a really good job by him. And then Bart Miller kind of came in towards the end. Illinois was recruiting him as a defensive lineman all along. More schools were showing interest in him as an offensive lineman. Eddie, I think, prefers defensive line, at least has to this point, but he started to want to know more about offensive line. And Illinois really did a great job in April. And then again on this June visit of saying, listen, if you want to be an offensive lineman, Brett Bielema and Bart Miller, like they've done a pretty good job of this. So I can see him playing center, left guard, 3 technique, whatever it is. He's just a damn good football player.
Yeah, that's not a bad problem to have. And you have a kid who didn't – I guess we should start saying, like, which was what we thought. They have 2 good pitches, on both sides of the ball in the trenches. Like, that is a meaningful thing for Illinois football to have. And then you get a kid who is still sorting it out, which maybe you hear that and you think, well, which one is it? That'll be sorted out. But he committed to Illinois. He didn't commit to be an offensive lineman at Illinois. He didn't commit to be a defensive lineman. Like, that's a pretty telling thing about where your program is. It's not that he's trying to be the next, as Ryan pointed out the comparison, Kendrick Green, or he's trying to be the next Keith Randolph. Like, he wants to be at Illinois, and you've got the pitches to make that an attractive option for him.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Zafir Stewart is a monster of a man. I look at him. I watch some of his film. 6'4", 320. He might be a little taller than that, seems like, but it looks like he's got the flexibility to play tackle and guard. Had offers from a bunch of Power 5 programs. I'll list them off here: Boston College, Cincinnati, Maryland, Nebraska, Ole Miss, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, West Virginia. Remember 3 or 4 years ago under Lovie Smith, the offensive line recruiting that was happening. Now Illinois just keeps stacking these Power 5 battles. So what do you think Zafir Stewart adds for Illinois?
Well, he's a big, strong, powerful dude. I mean, he's kind of in that same vein as some of these other bigger offensive linemen that Bielema's brought in. Maybe not quite as big as like Chrysler, but it's that same style, like a Desmond Schuster. They're getting bigger body guys. I mean, Hunter Whitenack came in at 6'8", 320. Mountis Moeller is like 6'9", 300. They're getting some huge dudes. But they're getting guys that can move. Zafir Stewart, he's a tiny bit heavy on his feet, but he moves really well for his size. And, he plays a lot of left tackle for Imhotep. I don't know if he's going to play left tackle at the next level. I'm thinking maybe right tackle, right guard. potentially start him at guard and then eventually move him out to tackle kind of once he gets his legs under him. But I mean, he's a guy that just, when he gets his hands on somebody, it's over. He'll bury them. He'll control them. He's just so big and strong. He'll have to get a little bit more flexible, but I mean, for his size, like I said, all things considered and all things relative, for his size, he moves really well. I think he's got a great pass pro set already. We'll just need to adjust a little bit, just as at the next level, the pass rushers are going to be more advanced. They're going to be faster, more athletic. So he will need to kind of progress along that curve. But, I mean, you look at it, there's a reason so many programs wanted him, and Illinois was able to get him to commit right after the visit and keep him from going and seeing some of those other schools. You know, he originally had several other visits scheduled, and Illinois was his first official visit, and day and a half later, shuts it down.